there are missiles which Iran has. I don't think it can fire more than 2,000 missiles because it doesn't have more than 2,000 missiles. And there will be a limit of defense of the Iron Dome or the David Sling system, because there will be amount of number of interceptors which Israel will have, and then it's going to run out. Are we going to, can we look at this war from the perspective where both the parties think that now it's time we take a pause? Because there is complete absence of conversation, where Israel has said no nuclear bombs, and Iran says, well, we are going to respond. So there is no middle ground right now. There is no middle line. There is no meeting line, if I may put it like this. Jeff.
That's correct. There is, and as far as I can see, I agree with you. There's no middle ground. This has always been an existential war. The timing of this, obviously, this is not the beginning of the war. This has been a war that's been going on for many decades. The most recent, I think, event started October 7th, where Iranian proxies. This recent escalation has to do with a new situation in America, as well as the approach of Iran to, be able to weaponize nuclear in a nuclear way. Israel felt it had no choice. Trump gave Iran a deadline, and now Israel's acting, and now Iran's trying to respond. And remember, this is not actually the people of Iran. It's a regime that is very fragile, but very powerful. And those two things are the same, which means it maintains power through force, but it is not loved by its people. It's not loved by anybody else in the region. It's being manipulated and used by global interests like Russia and China. But right now, there's a tremendous danger point, obviously, because their supreme leader really has very little options left to survive. And he clearly has not cared whatsoever about his own people. So very much there's brinksmanship happening here. But I happen to agree that this is one or the other. I also disagree with the idea that America is being called to wage Israel's war. Israel has been waging America's war. This Iranian regime has promised to obliterate America, destroy America. And let me make it very clear, that is not just talk. Delivering a nuclear EMP device to continental America, which is what you need an ICBM for example, would literally destroy the United States of America. So this is America's war that Israel's been fighting. And now America is joining in.
So, there is a larger issue also here that, are we asking the right questions? And then I'll go to Aditya again. Most of the wars in the world, the proxy wars, Jeff, have become real wars. The proxy war between Iran and Israel has become a real war. The proxy war which the Pakistan was conducting against India turned into a real war. So how do you look at this global trend where the proxy wars are turning into real wars, and conventional methods, conventional weaponry is being deployed in both civilian and military areas?
Well, when I talk about proxy wars, I don't mean wars not being real wars. I mean wars being waged by bigger powers using proxy forces. So Iran is using proxy forces, obviously, against Israel, let's say Hamas or Hezbollah. But, China and Russia are relying on Iran, not in an open war sense, but in a geopolitical strategic power sense, to also move against America's interests. And America sees that as well. And China has to be reconsidering its own positions, because Israel has so comprehensively shown dominance, until now at least, of Iran, that hopefully China is rejiggering its own thoughts, because it's not as though China doesn't have its own relations with Israel. It's not always hostile. This is more of its own global view. But yes, those big wars do turn into local actual wars with terrible consequences.
Absolutely. And Itai, I should have asked this to both of you, Jeff and Itai, to both of you. Itai, first to you. Are you guys safe? How intense has been the Iranian barrage in Haifa? We had learned that Haifa was one of the prime targets of the Iranian attack. Are you safe there?
Yes, thank God. It's not easy days. As I said earlier on, a few hours ago, I was at one of the sites that were hit. But I can tell you that when Hezbollah was shooting at Haifa, heavy barrages for several weeks, we felt our whole shelter start shaking and shuddering when there was a direct hit not very far from where I live. So it's a bit surrealistic that you live in the modern world, that you're speaking intercontinentally, and then you suddenly have to say, sorry, but I have to run to the shelter. And it doesn't feel like we're in the 21st century. So it's a bit surrealistic. Also, as I said, the site I was at earlier today, not fun site. You can see it. By the way, the pictures you were showing before of a beautiful house in a place called Tamra. It's an Arab village. 4 of the 24 killed in Israel so far are Arab citizens of Israel, who a mother and 2 daughters and 1 more family member who were killed. The father is a senior, well-known lawyer in Israel who lost his family in one crazy rocket barrage aimed at civilians from Iran. And yes, we feel safe. We have good defense systems. Israel has invested heavily in defense systems. I think the entire world wants to see and learn how this is working. Still, when there are heavy attacks, they cannot always be fully intercepted. That's why we've seen a few direct hits. That's why there have been 24 civilian casualties.